If you've been following me for a minute, you will know that I absolutely do not, let me just emphasize this, do not like to sell people the dream of what it takes to build an Etsy business, whether that's print on demand, digital downloads, or physical goods. We'll never, ever see on my channel me using the words like side hustle or the easiest way to make X amount of money in Y amount of time. The reason why I don't like to paint that picture, even though that is what people generally like to see online and they like to be told everything is just easy and fast, even though I know that's what people want to click on, in my opinion, all that does is really just set people up for the absolute failure. I recently put out another video very similar to this, basically posing the question, is Etsy even still worth it? And I tackle that question on a broad view, but because a lot of you asked me about print on demand, and honestly print on demand right now on Etsy is being searched more than Uber, I'm gonna be more specific in this video, specifically tackling print on demand. So is print on demand hard? Is print on demand still even worth it as we approach 2024? And if it is your goal as a aspiring or a current print on demand seller, what does a 6 or 7 figure print on demand store look like today and as we move into 2024? Welcome back, guys. My name is Hannah Gardner. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I have been selling on Etsy for over 5 years now, basically sharing back that journey with you guys and being as transparent as possible of all the ups and downs and new things that I experience with my own brand. All right, so first things first, is POD hard? If the goal for you is to grow a wildly successful business, AKA a wildly successful print-on-demand Etsy business. When I say wildly successful, I mean you're pushing the later 6-figure, multiple 7 figures a year with your store. I think it's more beneficial for you to come into the game assuming that it may very well be one of the most hardest and difficult things you've ever done. This is true for print-on-demand or any business venture that you want to start. When you come into a new business venture with the mindset that it is going to possibly be the hardest thing you've ever done, when things do begin to get hard, having proper expectations are what carry you through those difficult times. And that is why I cannot emphasize enough, you know, when you see all these get rich quick videos, the best side hustles that you can, you know, make in 20 days to supplement your income, just so hurtful to the end consumer, because every single person going into a new business venture has a different learning curve. They have different background experiences. My big video that I posted, how I made over 900K in my first calendar year on Etsy, I put a hard preference in that video that yes, I did those numbers, but that was not my first year in business. I pretty much ate shit for 2 to 3 years before that in other business ventures, learning from the school of hard knocks and learning the hard way. That then leads us to pose the question, is it still even worth it to get into print on demand on Etsy in 2024? Yes, I truly believe it's still a super viable business model. But with that being said, there are new lengths, new heights that you have to reach within your business that, you know, 3 years ago, you didn't necessarily have to do. First things first, and this is probably the most common amateur move that I see with new POD sellers, Etsy is 100% favoring print-on-demand shops that are building memorable brands, cohesive brands that could potentially even be recognizable off the Etsy platform. And what do I mean by cohesive branding? And branding and design is such a perspective-based thing. And I just want you to also keep in mind, if you've never done design work, if you've never used Canva or any of the design tools before, and this is your first time doing design, design in itself is a skill that takes a long time to acquire. Now, again, some people can come out the gates and they make amazing designs and they just have that aesthetic eye, and some people don't, and it takes them a lot longer to get up to date with being able to spot current trends, current fonts, current designs, graphics that look good together. And the best way that I can explain this is if you walk into a store like Free People, even though Free People is selling dresses and shirts and leggings and underwear, maybe lingerie, even though they're selling a whole bunch of different items. When you put all the items next to each other, it's easily identifiable that, oh, that's a Free People, dress, or that's a Free People skirt. Same thing if you walk into a store like Express. When you walk into a store like Express, the keywords that you think about are chic, business-oriented, straight-lined, professional clothing. It's an identifiable brand vibe, and a very different identifiable brand vibe in comparison to Free People. That skill alone of being able to create a cohesive brand vibe can take more or less time, considering how new or how seasoned you are as a designer. You can actually prove this to yourself. I am using my Sales Samurai tool here. This is their web app, and in their competition tracker, if you start typing in shop names that you want to track the sales volume of your competition in a certain amount of time, you can actually see, okay, these shops right here, these are just 2 examples, right? This one has had over 130,000 sales and it's less than a year old, and this is a print-on-demand shop. So they're clearly doing something here that is working. If you look at relatively young Etsy print-on-demand shops that are pushing sales volume numbers like this, what you'll see is what they all have in common is the cohesiveness of the brand and the designs and the mock-ups and the color schemas, their fonts, all of these things, where everything looks really good and aesthetic when it's all put together. And guys, you can track your competition. This is just one of many features that Sales Samurai offers. This one specifically is showing me the amount of sales that they're doing and in what amount of time, and also the amount of listings they have. So in under a year, they got their shop to 1,600 listings and have had over 130,000 sales. So obviously those are the types of shops that you want to understand what they're doing so you can compete against those types of big dogs. You guys can check out Sales Samurai in my description. I have a link and a discount code in there for you if you want to check them out. And the newbies that I see making this mistake, building uncohesive brands, I like to call those shops tacky Key West style gift shops. It's kind of a similar vibe, and there's bright colors everywhere and different type of logos, and nothing really matches, and it's kind of cluttered, and the shelves are kind of all in a disarray and disorganized, versus when you walk into something like, again, like a Free People or an Express, where everything is neat and organized. Now, it's not to say that a tacky Key West gift shop can't make sales or can't work out for you. You probably can find some young shops that are doing, making sales. But if my goal is to help you understand what your best case scenarios are if you're trying to go to market for the first time, that is not what is optimizing for the most amount of sales on the Etsy platform. Remember, because now there is a heightened level of competitiveness that is required to really crush it in this space, right? The next best thing, alongside, in my opinion, of having really cohesive and beautiful branding and beautiful listings and videos and all of that stuff, the next best thing that I would say that would build a moat around yourself or increase your competitiveness with your shop is being able to offer personalization. The very nature of Etsy and why so many people go to Etsy before POD even existed is because of this personalization component. And one way that you can actually do this is with a tool called Hello Custom. The very nature of POD and why people are attracted to POD is because there is not a lot of manual work on the back end. And Hello Custom actually automates this added personalization component to your listing. So you actually can offer personalization without having to manually create a new listing every single time. And now I'm actually gonna roll a clip of Steven Chin, the CEO, who's gonna show you exactly how this works.
Automating the personalization of your Etsy print-on-demand products has never been easier. To use Hello Custom, we'll start off by uploading a PDF of your personalized graphic here. And Hello Custom will take that PDF and convert it back to an editable template. This will take about 5 seconds to do. All right, perfect. As you can see, Hello Custom took this PDF and converted it back to an editable template. So to create a template, we'll start off by giving this template a title. This is for internal purposes only. Next, we need to tell Hello Custom what product in Etsy does this graphic belong to. So to do that, we'll click on Product Variants. And then all of your Etsy products will display here. You can use a search bar if needed, but it's going to be this ornament right here. And then you'll just leave the SKUs that are associated with this graphic selected and click on Update. Now Hello Custom knows when that SKU sells on Etsy, use this graphic. And then lastly, we need to tell Hello Custom what inside this graphic needs to be personalized. And we do that with tags. So for example, this is where the name is going to go. we want this personalization to be center aligned when personalized. You can do left aligned, right aligned, but we want it to be center aligned. And we're going to tag this as name. We're also going to have a date field down here. So we're going to tag this one as date. And then lastly, if you want a transparent background and you don't want this white box to show in the product, you can click on background, click on transparent, and then it will automatically remove the background for you, and click on publish. Now when this product sells on Etsy, Hello Custom will take this graphic, automatically personalize it for you, and display it for your approval in our approval queue. You will see a thumbnail of the personalized graphic side by side with the Etsy's order information. You'll see the product, the quantity bought, any variations, and what the shopper actually typed in. In this case, we typed in, can the name be Joshua's and the date be 2024. Hello Custom read this and it made the following graphic. Hello Custom uses the correct font, the correct color, the correct placement, and best of all, the correct personalization. When everything looks correct, simply click on approve, and then if you're integrated with Printify, it will automatically be fulfilled too. This is game changing, guys. As someone who has sold hundreds of thousands of personalized products on Etsy, something that used to take 2 to 5 minutes to do manually on the front end and then 2 to 5 minutes to update the order on the back end can now be done with the simple click of a button.
Guys, I would highly encourage you to come out of the gates offering personalization. A lot of sellers are still not offering personalization. And so obviously you're gonna wanna start ranking listings that offer personalization sooner than later. Guys, you can check out Hello Custom. There is a link in my description for them as well. So make sure you start integrating that with your Printify account. By the way, guys, if you are completely new to the Etsy POD space, Printify actually came out with an Etsy bootcamp course that they're selling. And they actually gave me a 70% off discount code with my name, Hannah. So the bootcamp itself is $59, but if you use discount code Hannah, you get 70% off that price. So if you want to learn more in-depth strategies for POD with Etsy from the source itself, Printify, who you're probably going to be using as your print provider, go ahead, sign up for that bootcamp and use Hannah for 70% off your purchase. Another huge core attribute about really successful later six-figure, seven-figure Etsy print-on-demand shops is that they have a constant inflow of new product listings. Those sellers have really figured out how to systemize all parts of that engine. What I mean here is having a systemized flow of steps that your company personally follows in order to optimize the output of work that you do. There's only so many hours that you can spend in the day designing stuff and putting out print-on-demand products. In the given standard day, how can we fully optimize our efforts? And how can we only focus on product opportunities that we know are setting ourselves up for the best case scenario? So just to give you a little crash course on research and development or spotting product opportunities, I'm going to use my Sales Samurai Chrome extension here, and I am going to click on 500 more on the keyword Christmas. Now, obviously, Christmas is a huge search volume keyword, so we're not looking, the product opportunity isn't just Christmas. With the words available to us, what product opportunities can we prioritize and dedicate our priority time first to those product opportunities based off search volume and also competition, and competition relative to the other keyword opportunities that are available to us. So I typed in Christmas because it's a super broad, large keyword search term. But can we find any keyword product opportunities in here that have high search but relatively lower competition in comparison to the other words that are product opportunities or just words available to us? And can we prioritize making products around those keyword opportunities? To get back when we were typing Christmas, right, I found a word here that says inexpensive Christmas gifts. So 3,000 search volume and relatively lower competition when you compare that to a lot of these other Christmas words that are in the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of competition. So inexpensive Christmas gift is still pretty broad, but let's now further investigate what's showing up and what people are thinking in their minds for the keyword inexpensive Christmas gifts when they are typing it into the search bar. So I'm going to open this into an incognito window. Another one I have here is YW Christmas gift. I'm not sure. I think that has something to do with religion. So something religious maybe, which definitely could manifest into some type of POD shirt or mug or something like that. But let's just see inexpensive Christmas gift and see what manifests here. So open link in an incognito window. And right off the bat, we have a bestseller here, and it's a personalized ornament. This ornament is 100% a print-on-demand ornament for $9.99. I actually know that this ornament is right here in Printify. So here is that same ornament with that same string. But the competitive component that they're including in this is that personalization component, which we can solve that problem with the standard Hello Custom templates, and then basically just have the name, them put in their name and the year right there. So perfect product opportunity right there. So I would prioritize something like this over another product opportunity like, you know, Sister's Christmas gift, where, you know, the competition is 162,000 competition versus 1,000. So when you're trying to set yourself up for the best case scenario and figure out, you know, I only have so many hours in the day, what am I going to prioritize first, second, and third? Having a system like this where step 1, step 2, step 3, you're following some sort of R&D or research and development process, that is what's going to optimize your output and the quality of the output of the work that you put out. Another major core attribute that is a little controversial is spending money on Etsy PPC. And I would argue now more than ever, it's important to figure out and learn and get comfortable with maxing out your Etsy PPC budget and getting it to a point of profitability and getting your business to a point of profitability post ads. Now, I have full in-depth trainings on PPC, the psychology of PPC, how to run PPC in my channel, which I'll link those videos down below. I have a strong fundamental belief that the people that are maxing out their ad budgets are creating an extra layer or an extra moat around their business. So I think it's really important for you to, even if you're too afraid to run ads now or invest the money now, you must have an understanding of why it's going to become a necessity in the future. Other than that, there's other smaller, easier things that top POD sellers are doing, like not offering free shipping so you can present a cheaper price on the front end, or even making the least sold variation option in your listing a break even or cheaper price in the end, so that price shows up on the front end. Things like making sure that you're fully optimizing each space in your photo slots, as long as with a video, taking your main image a step further by not just buying the same mock-up that everybody else has, but actually investing the time or making your own mock-ups that are super trendy, cohesive, and unique, so you don't look like everybody else's mock-ups. All of those little things also contribute and help as well. And they seem like, and a lot of this stuff seems like little things, but trust me, POD sellers are lazy, and when you do all these little moments of truth together, it makes all of the difference on when it comes to being competitive and maintaining competitive rank. Another thing that a lot of POD sellers do is a daily sales strategy to get those urgency badges, which we see a lot of POD sellers do this. Overall, guys, I hope you got some serious value out of this video. Comment any other value that you think that you have to help other Etsy sellers down below. That is what this channel is about. Entrepreneurs supporting entrepreneurs. I'd love to see it in the comment section. So thank you so much, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.